My name is Anne Kulakowski and I'm a homeologist. I started working as a feng shui consultant and would go into people's homes, and typically the way that's structured is that you go into someone's home for a 2 or 3 hour stretch and you kind of point out everything that they need to change, and then you leave. And what I found was that during those consultations, a lot of really deep emotional material would come up, and yet I would an hour later close the door and say goodbye and never really see these people again, and kind of leave them with this big thing that had just opened up. And that's when I went back and got my master's in somatic counseling psychology, so I could blend working with people and their homes and the deeper emotional and psychological work. A homeologist is a term that I came up with to blend the professions and the fields that I'm working from. So a homeologist is a trained and licensed psychotherapist who uses a person's home as the way to understand who a person is. I think the first time I picked up a book on feng shui was probably over 15 years ago. I've been studying homes and thinking about homes and really immersing myself in learning about how people relate to their homes for quite a long time now. I do it in a really gentle and nurturing way with people. I believe that with that foundation we can get to some areas with people that might be more difficult to hear. I believe that that's where the richness of a consultation really comes out, is when we can find the areas in a home that reflect some challenge that a person is going through. This is something that I just can't stop thinking about, so it's something that's with me all the time. It's just so much a part of who I am and how I move through the world. One of the main areas that I work with are people who are recently separated and divorced, or having lost a partner due to any reason. When you go from living with a partner to not living with a partner, it represents a huge emotional and psychological change and transition, and just big moment of life change. And it's also a time when there's a really big physical change happening. So you're actually either moving into a new home after separation or divorce. You might be staying in the family home after the separation, but needing to kind of reinvent the home. So this is a really excellent time to do this work, because when we go from living in a certain way, in a certain home with a certain person, to living maybe in a different home or without that certain person, we really need to create a new home. So when people start working with me and doing the work of Homeology, we actually start in a sense removed from the home. So people will either come to my office or we'll have a phone or Skype session. And the idea with that is just for a person to have a little bit of perspective on their home, which sometimes happens when they're not sitting in the middle of it, but when they're stepped a little bit away from their home. And I just start to learn about their home and learn about a person's relationship to their home. So I might ask questions like, what do you like about your home? What don't you like about your home? What's working for you? What's not working for you? Are there parts that are secret about your home? Are there parts that you might feel ashamed of? Are there parts that you don't show to anybody? What are you the most proud of in your home? And what parts do you avoid going to? And in these questions, I start to learn a little bit about where a person is coming from, and then where we might want to go in our work together. In the work of Homeology, when we're at the point where I do come out to a person's home, it usually starts with just a general tour of the home. So I'm asking a person to show me your home. And I leave it very open-ended, and I let the person direct and let the person guide. I'm always curious about where they take me first, and what rooms do we linger in, and what rooms do we kind of cruise through really fast and not spend much time in. And all of this is giving me information. I'm curious about what objects they point out to me, what objects do they not pay much attention to. So being in a person's home is just about learning who a person is. It's starting to see the person reflected in the physical environment. So when a person goes through a separation or divorce or a partner loss, there's one of two situations happens. They either stay in the family home or they move out and into a new home of their own. And each of these situations presents really interesting challenges that we work through in the work of Homeology. The person who stays in the family home often has to go through a lot of grief, and their house in a way is full of memories and ghosts of the past. And for this person, they have to really redefine who they are in this dwelling that they shared with their ex, which is really hard, and it takes a lot of work and attention. And there may be lots of objects left in the home from the relationship, and they may need to think about how they're using their rooms currently, and do they want to use them in the same way that they used them when they were with their ex. So it presents a lot of unique challenges and opportunities. They get to have the stability of staying in the family home, which is often really helpful when there's children involved. Yet they need to make their home reflective of who they are right now in life, and not who they were 20 years ago when they bought the house with their ex. For this person who's moving out into their own home, a new home, this question of who am I is even more relevant because of the fact that there's nothing there to start. There's no way that the home used to be when they were married. There's no furniture. It's just starting from scratch, which is really beautiful. It's a really fun opportunity for someone to step into this question of who am I post-divorce, post-partner loss, and who do I want to be? I often see that when people engage in this work of Homeology, that big things in their life really start to shift during the work, and especially in really important areas like relationships and health and career and life passions, and all of this starts to really shift, because when a person moves from being in a foggy relationship to their home or an unconscious relationship to their home into a relationship that's really conscious and really intentional, it reflects in their life. And when we put conscious attention into our home, we're putting conscious attention into ourselves. And that's when big stuff really starts to change. People start paying attention to their home. They often start paying attention to their health, and their health improves. Because taking care of your home is taking care of yourself. Taking care of your home is taking care of your health. And decorating your home is expressing yourself in your home. It's expressing yourself in life, and that often is highly connected to your career and your passions. So when people start doing these things, all the external stuff in life really starts to change, and it's really exciting to see what starts happening for people. It can range anywhere from working with someone for a month, 3 months, 6 months, even a year. It's really just about where a person is. We'll start working together and start with one aspect of the home, and then when people see what can happen when you really pay attention to this stuff in the home, light bulbs start going off, and they really want to kind of explore the whole home and really really kind of dig deep in the home because they're so eager at this point to move forward and let go of the painful past and move into something really exciting. My life has seen a lot of changes based on me working with my home. It became really clear to me then that what I do with my home and how I decorate it and what objects I choose to put in it really affect how my life is going and really affect what happens with my life. So I think in particular, though, as I've stepped into the work of being a homologist, I know that I have to walk my talk. It's something I'm always aware of and thinking and talking about and working with. And so I get to have that with my own home. And I feel like my own home has felt more and more of an intimate place for me over the years that I've been doing this work, because it just becomes more and more reflective of who I really am and who my husband is and who we are as a couple in our home.